Imagine waking up one morning with the ability to read minds. No more second-guessing what your boss really thinks about your work, whether your date is actually into you, or if your best friend genuinely likes your cooking. At first glance, mind reading sounds like the ultimate superpower, capable of solving life's most perplexing mysteries. But would it truly be a blessing? Or would it turn our world into an unrecognizable mess of exposed thoughts and shattered relationships? Let's dive into the intriguing reality of what would happen if humans could read each other's minds. A brief history of mind reading. From fiction to science. For centuries, the idea of telepathy has fascinated and baffled people. The term telepathy was coined in 1882 by British philologist Frederick W. H. Myers as a more marketable alternative to thought transference, which, let's be honest, doesn't sound nearly as cool. Ever since then, scientists and researchers have been on a mission to either prove or debunk its existence, while telepathy has remained a staple of science fiction. Featuring in everything from comic book superheroes to alien encounters, the scientific community has struggled to find tangible proof that it exists in reality. Despite countless studies, no concrete evidence has been found to suggest that humans naturally possess this ability. In fact, a U.S. government research panel flat-out dismissed extrasensory perception, telepathy, and mind-over-matter techniques, stating that there was no legitimate scientific basis for them. However, this hasn't stopped researchers from pushing the boundaries of human cognition, exploring ways to bridge the gap between imagination and reality. With advances in technology, scientists are beginning to make surprising breakthroughs. EEG devices have been used to analyze brain activity, while AI-assisted functional magnetic resonance imaging scans have reportedly extracted images directly from people's minds, revealing a shocking glimpse into how thoughts can be translated into visual data. In 2013, an experiment claimed to establish an actual brain-to-brain connection between two test subjects. But before you get too excited, those subjects were lab rats. Yes, at this point, we are more likely to communicate with a hamster than with each other telepathically. But what if we could? What if reading minds became as effortless as checking your phone for a notification? Would it bring us closer together, eliminating misunderstandings and deception? Or would it unleash chaos, eroding the fundamental boundaries of privacy, trust, and individuality? As science inches closer to making this fiction a reality, the implications for our world remain both thrilling and terrifying. How mind reading would reshape society. If mind reading became a reality, our social interactions would change forever. Imagine a world where small talk was unnecessary, misunderstandings were impossible, and you always knew exactly what someone was thinking. Sounds great, right? Well, not so fast. While knowing people's true thoughts could make conversations more efficient, it would also strip away the protective layers of social niceties, turning every interaction into an emotional minefield. Compliments, complaints, hidden resentments, everything would be out in the open, making relationships far more intense and unpredictable. On the positive side, mind reading could revolutionize mental health care. Conditions like depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation would no longer go unnoticed, allowing doctors and loved ones to intervene before it's too late. Individuals with social difficulties, such as those with Asperger's syndrome, could communicate effortlessly, and those who are mute or suffer from locked-in syndrome could finally express themselves freely. But while these advancements could bring immense benefits, the implications for justice and law enforcement could be far more complex. The justice system would undergo a complete transformation, as wrongful convictions would become a thing of the past. Authorities could extract the truth directly from a suspect's mind, rendering trials obsolete and replacing them with immediate verdicts based on mental evidence. However, this raises a massive ethical dilemma. At what point does reading someone's thoughts become a violation of personal freedom? Would we still be considered innocent until proven guilty? Or would our private thoughts incriminate us before we ever acted on them? If our minds became an open book, would it still be possible to distinguish between fleeting, irrational thoughts and genuine criminal intent? In the quest for absolute truth, we might find ourselves sacrificing the very principles of justice we hold dear. The downside: a world without secrets. If mind reading became universal, privacy would vanish, leaving every thought awkward, embarrassing, or controversial exposed for all to see. Social interactions would become a minefield, as fleeting emotions and impulsive thoughts would no longer be hidden. Surprise parties, secrets, and polite white lies would be extinct, making relationships unbearably raw and emotionally exhausting. Dating and marriage would struggle under constant mental transparency, stripping away mystery, excitement, and trust. In extreme cases, survival could depend on suppressing thoughts, as oppressive regimes would target dissent before it even materialized. Businesses, governments, and military operations would be in chaos, unable to protect sensitive information or strategic plans. Diplomacy would crumble as world leaders anticipated each other's every move, making political deception nearly impossible. Power would shift not to the wealthiest, but to those who could master the art of mental deception and misdirection. Without the ability to filter thoughts, conflicts would escalate, as every grievance and insecurity became instantly known. In a world where no thought was private, the biggest challenge wouldn't be reading minds, but surviving in a world where nothing remained hidden. Could we learn to live with mind reading? If mind reading became universal, people would likely try to develop ways to manage or block it. Meditation, mindfulness, and mental discipline could evolve from wellness trends into necessary survival skills, helping individuals regain a sense of privacy in an otherwise exposed world. Entire industries might emerge around mental firewalls or thought-blocking gadgets, offering high-tech solutions for those desperate to keep their innermost thoughts hidden. Perhaps futuristic thought encryption devices could be invented, allowing people to shield specific thoughts from being accessed, while keeping other parts of their minds open for communication. Governments and corporations could even impose regulations on telepathic access, creating ethical debates on whether restricting mind reading is a form of oppression or a basic human right. Would freedom of thought become a legally protected right, similar to free speech? Or would the ability to read minds be weaponized for mass surveillance, ensuring that no one could ever keep a secret again? In time, society might adjust. We could learn to accept that not every fleeting thought defines us, and that judging people based on temporary emotions is both unfair and counterproductive. Schools might start teaching mental etiquette, emphasizing the importance of discretion when accessing others' thoughts. People could begin practicing thought curation, learning how to present only socially acceptable ideas while keeping impulsive or irrelevant thoughts buried beneath layers of mental discipline. The ability to control one's own mind could become just as valuable as intelligence or physical fitness, with people training themselves to think strategically, perhaps even purposefully masking thoughts to mislead or protect themselves. But even with these adaptations, would we ever truly be comfortable knowing that nothing in our minds is safe? Or would we spend our lives in constant mental vigilance, fearing that a single careless thought could change everything? Would paranoia become the new normal, where every individual constantly second-guesses their own thoughts, terrified of broadcasting something inappropriate or dangerous? If mind reading reached the point where even subconscious thoughts were exposed, could we truly hold people accountable for ideas they never intended to act upon? And if we all had access to everyone's innermost desires and fears, would we become more empathetic, or would the sheer weight of human thoughts overwhelm us, leading to mass psychological exhaustion? The mind has always been the final frontier of privacy, a sanctuary where we can retreat from the pressures of the world. If that last barrier was torn down, humanity might be forced to rethink not just how we communicate, but how we define personal identity, freedom, and even morality itself. Perhaps the real question is not whether we could live in a world with mind reading, but whether we should. And that's a wrap on the mind-blowing world of telepathy. Would mind reading be a dream come true or a total nightmare? Let me know your thoughts. Just don't read mine. If you enjoyed this, smash that like button, subscribe for more brain-tingling content, and hit the bell so you never miss a thought-provoking upload.